Hello and welcome to Image the Motherload, the podcast for mums who work inside and outside the home. I'm your host, Dominique McMullen. I'm Image Media's editorial director and mum of 2 boys. Each week, I'm joined by a guest to talk about the realities of modern motherhood and to hopefully leave you feeling a little more seen and a little less alone. You can think of us as part of your village because we're here to lighten the load. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to thank the brands that make the Motherload possible. Image the Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. We're recorded here in the beautiful Hoxton Hotel in Dublin. My guest today is Dr Clodagh Campbell, otherwise known as the Wellness Psychologist. She is a psychologist, an author, a speaker, a podcaster, and a mum of 3. Her work centres around helping people to better understand their nervous systems, their minds, and the patterns they use to work their way through the world. The last time I met Clodagh was a year and a half ago when I was interviewing her, and she was pregnant at the time with her 3rd child, so we have a lot to catch up on. Clodagh's life and I have some parallels too. We are both adopted people and both lost our dads after a short illness. So this will be a special one. Let's get into it. So welcome, Clodagh Campbell. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for having me.
Have you had a calm morning? You've travelled up from Wexford?
It was calm. You know why?
Why?
Because I got a blow dry.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I was like, I gave myself the gift of, instead of trying during the manic school, preparations, instead of trying to manage that, dry my hair, curl my hair, it's like, I'll come up, I'll leave them with my husband.
Lovely.
I'll book in for a blow dry. And actually, when I was there and she was washing my hair, I was like, this is so nice. Then I had a little mint tea. So I'm feeling great. My husband's probably sweating.
Oh, it's fine. You leave him sweating at home.
Yeah.
Did you do a little head massage? Yeah. The dream.
It was gorgeous.
The best thing. Yeah. Well, I'm glad. It's so nice to have a regulated, blow-dried Clodagh.
Yeah, and I never really get them. So it was I'm
sorry, they're an essential part of my week. I will most weeks get a blow-dry. Yeah.
You're bougier than me.
Yeah, I'm bougie. What can I say? So I said in the intro, but the last time that I saw you was a year and a half ago, which we were saying when you came in feels like a lot longer ago. And you were pregnant with your 3rd.
Yeah.
So how is life with 3 now?
Oh, it's good. She is just such a joy. Like, that's the only way to describe her. She brings so much joy to our lives. I feel like all 3 of them have their own little energies and personalities.
Yeah.
And joy just describes her. My middle daughter, she's a real free, wild child.
Love, yeah.
And then my oldest daughter is really like me, a real sensitive soul. So it's great. I'm so lucky to have them.
Yeah, and it's so lovely having that 3rd. I feel like people, I know certainly we've talked about it and back and forth, but always they seem to be the most joy-filled children. They seem to add so much to a family when you go for the 3rd one. Yeah,
she recently started to walk, and it was one of the most special moments of my life because we were in the kitchen. Thankfully, she chose the timing well. So we were all there, myself, Paul, and my 2 older girls. And they were cheering and clapping for her. And she was just so thrilled with herself. So yeah, she has really added something special to our family.
Yeah.
Don't they always say, though, the 3rd child is this gorgeous energy that tricks you into having a 4th, and then the 4th is wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to ask some moms of 4 about that one.
Yeah. And tell me about the 2 older ones, how they adjusted to it.
Well, it was a big year for them because when I was 38 weeks pregnant, we found a house we wanted to buy.
Wow.
So we were living in Dublin, city centre Dublin, found a house in Wexford. We always knew we wanted to move, and we felt time was ticking because Maya now is in 2nd class. She was in 1st class at the time. So they gained this gorgeous new little sister, and then within 2 weeks of her arriving, we had our house on the market and we had people coming to view the house.
Wow.
So the first day the estate agent came in, the baby Emmy was 2 weeks old and she was crying on the sofa by herself because I was in the shower and we had been sweating trying to get the house ready for the viewing. So in the last year, I suppose they've moved out of Dublin, moved out of their home.
Wow.
They've started a new school. They've moved into a new house. They've made new friends. They've started new little clubs, you know, like gymnastics and dancing. So it's been a lot for them and a lot for us, but it's all come together exactly as it was meant to, you know, even with the timing and everything.
Yeah.
So they're good, yeah, and they love their little sister.
Sure. What ages are they?
8, 5 and 1.
Okay. So that's a lovely little group of age gaps there.
Yeah.
Really nice.
It feels like my 8-year-old doesn't need me as much anymore. Obviously she needs me, but she does a lot for herself now.
Okay.
Whereas my 5-year-old, like, she would let me dress her every morning. She asks me to feed her. She will go in the buggy.
Yeah.
And then the baby is just sitting there smiling amidst the chaos.
Like the perfect baby.
She is.
Yeah. So gorgeous. And how's the year been for you then? I mean, that is a lot of changes. That's a lot that has happened, especially when you're postpartum.
Yeah.
How has that been?
It's been a lot. Yeah, it's probably a good way to describe it. You know what? It's really interesting because I found the year really, really hard. And I kept putting it down to circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is hard because I'm tired from the move.
Yeah.
This is hard because I'm, you know, settling our family into Wexford, into the new schools, navigating all of the things that comes with, you know, moving house. This is hard because, you know, X, Y, and Z. And actually, towards the end of the year, coming up towards Christmas, I realised I actually think this is really hard because my mood has been a bit low. And it took me so long to recognise that. And you know what it was? I went to the doctor to get my bloods checked. You know, when you're saying I'm exhausted. I had just finished breastfeeding. So I fed Emmy for 13 months.
Oh, well done.
Thank you. It was longer than the other 2 girls. And again, with her, it just kind of worked out that way. Because she's just a dream and it just kind of flowed. But I had just finished feeding her. My cycle had just returned. My skin was all over the place. Like my hormones were just, doing me dirty. But I was so tired. So I went to the doctor to get my bloods taken. And when I was having a chat with her, she's like, maybe it's your mood. You know, I was at that stage, I was putting it down to hormones again. You know, it's like
there's always a reason.
Giving a reason for feeling that way. And I just felt like my spark had completely gone. So actually I found it really hard.
Yeah.
And as you say, postpartum is a hard enough period as it is. I always feel it takes at least a year to kind of come out of the fog.
Yeah,
like at least a year.
Yeah.
But that then coupled with selling a house, buying a house.
It's the most stressful time of your life.
Yeah, I never want to do it again. I want to stay where we are forever now.
Have you got your forever home now? You're settled. And so how does that show up? You're thinking it's your mood. Were you just feeling tired and exhausted and that was the main kind of symptom of it?
Tired and exhausted and just really flat.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't feeling unhappy.
Yeah.
I wasn't crying. I wasn't feeling really sad. So that's why I think it threw me.
Yeah.
And I'm a psychologist. You know, I work with this all the time.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show that when you're in it,
it's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
And I was doing all of the right things. You know, I was exercising, I was eating well, I was sleeping, and still I was feeling that way. And it just gave me that added reminder of, you know, when we're struggling, often it's something biological that's happening for us. And it's, you know, sometimes we almost like say to people, well, can you do X, Y, and Z? Maybe you'll feel better then. But actually, you can be doing everything and still really struggling.
Yeah, that's such an important thing to say. Because I think we end up blaming ourselves, like, oh, I'm not exercising enough and that's why I feel like this, or I'm not eating right. I don't have the right mindset, which is horrible when it becomes your own fault. Whereas taking the pressure off yourself a little bit and realizing that sometimes you just feel this way.
Yeah.
What did you do? What were the kind of, once you realized you were just feeling that way, what was the next kind of steps?
I think even just having the awareness really changed things for me. So I really took the pressure off myself.
Yeah.
It was coming up to Christmas and I hadn't returned to work from maternity leave yet, but I kind of was feeling the pressure. I should, you know, that like I should.
Should is awful.
Should is awful. So I actually just said to myself, I'm not going to do that till after Christmas. And that in itself really helped. And it meant that the energy that I did have, I could put into the kids and getting ready for Christmas and making our house feel really homely, you know, for our first Christmas there.
Yeah.
So even that in itself, taking that pressure off really helped. The understanding helped. I'm feeling this way for a reason. Talking to Paul helped.
Yeah.
And giving myself extra grace, you know, just even those simple things. But actually, I say they're simple things, but they're massive too.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah. It's always the way though, the simplest, smallest things are the big things. Yeah. And did you get your hormones checked, did you say? And that was all okay?
I didn't get my hormones checked.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I talked to the doctor about it, she said, because you are so early in finishing the breastfeeding and
they're going to be all over the place.
Postpartum, they're going to be all over the place. So just give yourself time to settle. And that was probably part of it too.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure it was. Yeah. So yes, to answer your question, I found the last year really hard.
Yeah. Isn't that so great to say that though? Like, I think that's so important to say when you found a time hard, rather than brush over it or rather than wrap it in a neat little bow and put it away. Yeah. I think it's important to acknowledge when something was hard.
Yeah. And I think, as you said, we can blame ourselves or we can feel like we're not resilient enough or not strong enough or weak, when actually we all go through ups and downs. You know, like we all have experiences in our lives where we might feel really anxious or really low or like we've lost our spark. It's a normal human experience. And hopefully when we hear other people voicing their difficulties, it will help us feel less alone in ours. You know, there'll be people listening maybe that will relate to what I've said.
Absolutely.
And feel
a lot of people.
Yeah. So it's not your fault. Yeah.
Very rarely is. I'd love to talk about adoption because it's something that you and I have in common. We're both adopted people and we've never talked about it before, actually. It's kind of interesting even bringing it into the room.
Yeah.
But I'd love to hear about your experience of it, like how you found out. Did you always know? If we go back to kind of the beginning, because I think people's motherhood journeys are shaped long before they become mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about that.
Yeah. So I always knew. I don't remember being told. It was just something that I grew up with the awareness of.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think that that's the best way, that it's not this big shock. And even for my daughters, you know, you asked there how motherhood is, our motherhood experience, how we show up as moms, how that's shaped by our early experiences.
Yeah.
I always am really careful in sharing things with my girls.
Yeah.
You know, even when we were thinking of moving, like having those conversations really early on, so that they knew it was happening and they could prepare themselves. So I always knew. I never really remember as a child being upset with that knowledge or feeling a sense of difference outwardly. But definitely internally, I struggled.
Really?
Yeah. Like from as far back as I remember, like for example, when I was in first class, so I was 7, a little girl joined our school, joined our class, and I remember feeling really scared that I would lose my friends because this new interesting person had arrived.
Wow.
And I remember talking to my mom about it. I remember sometimes I'd go for sleepovers and I would feel anxious and I would really want my mom or one of my friends' moms often did this thing where my mum would come to collect me after the sleepover and she'd say, why don't you stay for another night? You know, you had such a ball. Why don't you stay again?
Wow.
And which was generous of her, but I was always like, no, I want to go home where it feels safe. And I think those things took like a lot of energy out of me.
Mm.
But it was the anxiety, it was the overthinking and the worry. I worried a lot. So I don't remember consciously struggling and linking it to the adoption,
Yeah.
but definitely was a really sensitive little girl who worried and was quite shy.
Was it
Yeah.
your work as a psychologist that enabled you to link those things together?
I think towards my later teens, I started to grasp some awareness of it.
Okay.
And then as part of my training to become a psychologist, I had to do a certain amount of therapy and
It's
a certain
tough,
amount
eh?
of group therapy. So I think it was something like 75 sessions of individual therapy.
So much.
Yeah. And then, not quite as much group therapy, but a hugely significant number too. So obviously that really helped my understanding.
Mm.
And I also studied adoption.
Okay.
So
Wow.
as part of my master's thesis, I did a adoption focused research piece and interviewed adopted people. And then as part of my doctorate, I did another adoption focused thesis.
Wow.
So that really helped my own understanding as well, and just normalizing the experience of adoption and
Yeah.
the impact it can have on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, were there any kind of aha moments throughout your studying where you were like, okay, that now makes sense, or that's something I wasn't expecting to discover?
I think it was just that feeling of, oh, I'm normal. This struggle that I've been experiencing is normal because of what I've gone through. That was really powerful for me. I think I felt quite weak in my late teens and my early 20s because I was struggling at times.
Yeah.
My anxiety was really heightened, say in early relationships with boyfriends. In my early relationship with my husband, like, he was so patient with me because I was so anxious that he would abandon me.
Yeah.
So definitely that, like, the gift of I'm normal.
Yeah.
This is so normal. That was really powerful for me.
God, I really feel that. I really feel that. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like, a lot of this stuff, I think these realizations for me happened much, much later in life. Like when I was small in school, like I used to go in, and my best friend, still the same best friend to this day, tells a story about me coming in and telling everyone that I was special, that I was chosen and I was different. And I didn't put two and two together about my kind of insecurities. I definitely wasn't anxious as a child, but my, for sure, insecurities until I was much, much later, until my late 30s. And I think that's quite common for adopted people from what I've read, that it's quite a later in life realization that maybe there are ways that you act and behave that have been impacted by that adoption story.
Yeah.
Is that something you found?
Definitely. And pivotal moments in our life can bring up that awareness as well. For
Like
example,
motherhood.
becoming a mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember sitting in the hospital bed with my first daughter and just looking at her and feeling so fiercely protective of her. And it was almost like I wouldn't even allow anyone else to hold her because I just did not want her to be separated from me.
Yeah.
Because I think of that early experience that I had. And I don't even think that was conscious. It was just like a remembering, maybe.
Yeah. It's so powerful, this stuff, isn't it? And actually, I think what you're saying there is it not being conscious and being a remembering is really interesting, because it's an experience that happened to you before you even had words, when you're a small, small baby. So you don't have necessarily a proper conscious understanding of the feelings.
Yeah.
That it's in your body instead. Have you found that early memories, and maybe not even adoption, but early memories from childhood, that they can live in your body?
100%.
Really, yeah.
100%. And we might not consciously remember something or cognitively remember something, but our body will.
It's so interesting, that mind-body connection.
Yeah.
How do you deal with something like that? I mean, as a psychologist, what do you recommend people do to connect maybe their mind and their body, or to process things that are maybe in their body or have been in their body for a very long time? I mean, how do you even identify when something is in your body?
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head there. It is about connecting the mind body. So I bring a lot of somatic work into my practice with my clients, whether it's one-on-one or group, and into my own life as well.
Really?
And into my little girls' lives,
Yeah.
So it is about dropping our awareness into our body. So if one of my clients is feeling really sad or really angry or whatever it is for them, I will encourage them, to just pause and to drop into their body and to take a moment to identify what's happening for me. Where am I feeling this? Am I feeling it in my chest, in my tummy, in my fists? And then we might go a step further and I might ask them, if you were to describe that feeling, that sensation to me as an image.
Yeah.
How does it look? And they could say something like a really heavy rock, or a swirling hurricane, or, red hot. So they'll describe it to me. They'll connect more with the feeling and the sensation through that.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we might work on moving it, moving the sensation or the energy, or offering it something. What does it need?
Yeah.
And that can be really powerful.
It's amazing imagery, how powerful imagery can be.
Yeah. And then the action afterwards, it might be as simple as just shaking your limbs. Like it might be giving yourself a hug, which actually is really beautiful. It might be punching a pillow.
Amen.
It might be like scribbling, on a page, really like hard to get that energy out. It might be going and doing like dancing around the kitchen.
Love that.
Yeah, I often do that with my little girls. We'll stick on, I don't know, Taylor Swift, who's a big hit at the moment, and just letting loose.
Yeah. So you're literally moving the energy out of your body,
exactly.
Physically moving it out of your body. Yeah. So interesting. So interesting.
Yeah, and it's really powerful.
And tell me about kind of generally, is that a part of nervous system regulation that's important? Moving that energy around?
Even just checking in with your body and how you're feeling and what signals is my body sending me.
Yeah. Yeah. Even you saying that, I've noticed something. I had a tough time with kind of panic attacks and anxiety last year, and I've been okay now for about 2 months. And one of the small things I do is that I stop and just notice my body. And it's amazing how often in the day I will be tight and like almost holding my breath. And these little, and I've heard you talk about them, micro moments where you stop and just for a second allow your shoulders to drop and take a deep breath in. It makes a huge difference.
It makes such a massive difference. And I did a training recently with this beautiful woman called Yaroshin, and we were spending the days kind of sitting on yoga mats. And when you've been sitting for a long time and you get up and your leg is like dead and or you pins and needles or whatever. And she said something really powerful. She said, how do we let it get to that? How are we so disconnected from our bodies that we don't feel it until we're, hobbling around the room?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was watching her after she made that comment, throughout the remaining days, and I would see her shifting her body every so often.
I just did it.
Or like rolling her shoulders.
Yeah. Just feeling your body.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of mums are disconnected from their bodies?
Yeah.
What is that? Why is motherhood enabling that?
I don't think we're taught actually how to connect with their bodies. Like, I don't remember anyone consciously teaching me that.
No, me neither. No, never.
I did a mindfulness-based stress reduction course a couple of years ago as a participant, and that really showed me how disconnected I was. Like, I remember one day during the course, I was walking to the cinema with my 2 little girls. I had 2 at the time. And we were rushing. We were late for the cinema. We were going to see, a kids movie. It wasn't anything important. And one was in the buggy and one was on a scooter. And her little helmet kept falling down off her forehead and we had to stop and fix it. And I was like, why don't you get in the buggy and we'll put the scooter in the bottom of the buggy? And she's like, no, I want to be on the scooter. And I was getting so frustrated. And
in there.
Yeah. And like, that sense of urgency is so familiar. And we were walking to the cinema, and I kind of realized halfway through it what was happening for me. I was feeling so frantic in my body. I was feeling like I was rushing to put out a fire. I was snapping at the girls. And I kind of realized if we get there and the movie has started, they won't even notice. It doesn't matter.
No.
And that really shifted things for me. So I just was like, okay, take a breath.
Yeah.
Like, slow down. Let her go on the scooter. Take a minute to actually properly fix the strap of the helmet. Yeah. So
it's so relatable. I think there won't be a mum who's listening who hasn't had that moment where you are trying to do something, get out the door for the school run in the morning is my big one, where I'm constantly like finding myself being so stressed and so frantic and snapping at them and shouting at them, which I hate so much. And, I would also imagine there isn't a mum who hasn't shouted, and then the guilt that follows the shouting. What's happening in your nervous system when that's going on, that cycle? Because it no matter how much you're aware of it, for me anyway, it happens. It keeps happening. Not every day, but probably much more frequently than I'd like.
Yeah. Same, like I snap at my kids all the time too. We all do, and we're human, and we hear this a lot nowadays, isn't it? Don't we? It's like the repair is the important piece.
Yeah.
But what happens in our nervous system is we perceive a threat. So whether it's real or imagined. So a threat could be that you're crossing the road and a car is speeding towards you. A threat could be you're, walking along the edge of a cliff and you feel like your little boy or little girl is going to fall off and you grab them. Or a threat could be you're late for school and you are flustered and panicking, and that's not a real threat, but it feels like it in your body. So your brain is sending out that signal, threat, danger, and we need to prepare ourselves to deal with this.
Yeah.
So we're releasing cortisol, adrenaline, stress hormones. Our breathing changes because we start to try to take in more oxygen to send oxygenated blood to the muscles in our body to fight the threat or run away from the threat. We're releasing more blood sugar, more glucose to give us energy to protect ourselves from the threat. Our digestive system starts to shift as well. Our senses heighten. We'll feel like tension in our body because we're preparing ourselves for the threat that's coming our way. So our breathing will be really shallow. We'll start to feel sweaty. We might feel like we need to go to the toilet because our body is trying to make us lighter so that we can run away. It's
amazingly physiological, isn't it? Like very physical.
Yeah. So we literally might be walking to the cinema, like in my example, or getting the kids out in the morning. And our body is responding in that way. And we are heightened, on edge, on high alert, hypervigilant. And often then, after the school run, you're racing to work.
Yeah. So you just it doesn't turn off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you finish the first meeting and then you're trying to respond to the emails that have landed in your inbox in that first hour in the morning. And then you're racing to something else. And you might even be racing to meet your friend for a coffee.
Yeah.
So it's like quite constant. And I think we can take on the sense of urgency as well.
Yeah.
If someone emails us.
Yes.
I really need this done.
Everything's urgent.
And someone said to me recently, we don't need to take on somebody else's urgency.
That's powerful, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
And it really made me stop to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a choice in that.
Do you know what I do is I don't necessarily take on their urgency, but I get angry at their urgency, which is not either. That's not good either. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's not urgent. And then I've got that bad feeling, either way, your fight or flight is triggered.
Because you're feeling stretched.
Yeah.
I don't have the capacity to take this on right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm juggling so many demands.
Too many things. As a mum, the reality is you spend a lot of time in the car, whether that's juggling kids or work or a combination of both. And you need a car that's going to make life easier. Recently, the Image Mums and I test drove the Peugeot 3008 and 5008, and we were genuinely so impressed. They are full of space, whether you have sports gear or backpacks or buggies or car seats or anything else you can think of. And they're full of really innovative tech too. The Peugeot 3008 SUV is a perfect mix of style and practicality, and the 5008 has even extra room, including 7 seats if you need it. Whether you've got toddlers or babies or teens, Peugeot just gets it. Because when life gets busy, you need a car that's going to keep up. And Peugeot will get you there. What can you do? I mean, I suppose the first step is to be aware that you're in that fight or flight mode. And after that, though, if you become aware of it, what else can you do to just slow everything down? Or is it that simple?
Yeah. It is really
That
making
simple.
conscious decisions throughout your day, or sitting down and thinking, is this how I want to live my life?
Yeah.
So making big decisions to change things up, or the small everyday moment to moment decisions.
Yeah.
We multitask so much. What would it be like to not multitask anymore?
Yeah. That's so important. I mean, it makes me think of like when I'm cooking the dinner, I'm watching something that I have to watch for work while simultaneously doing the big one's homework or whatever it is. Yeah.
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 So what would it be like to give ourselves permission to not multitask?
Yeah.
To do one thing at a time, and to think how we can create that space for ourselves in our life.
Yeah.
And even with our phones, for example, I don't know about you, but I could be watching a movie and then I'll be thinking, who's that actor? And I'll look it up on my phone. What's he been in before? I recognize him. And then you're scrolling through, other movies that he's been in. And then you might see a co-star and you might go into their profile. And, or you might think, oh, IMDb, what score this movie gets?
And then you get an Instagram notification and suddenly you're doing something else. Yeah. Absolutely.
So often it's creating boundaries to allow yourself to slow down. And I think when I work with clients around this, there's a lot of pushback. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't change things. They are so hectic.
This is the way I have to be.
Exactly.
This is what my life requires of me.
Yeah. But actually we can. If we give ourselves permission, we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's a certain aspect as well of like, I can do it all and I'm multifunctioning and this is what I have to do because I have an important job or they need me to do that and my kids need X, Y, and Z. And I would have been guilty of all of that for sure. But the interesting thing is that you don't have to necessarily blow up your life and change everything in order to slow down. That you can slow down while still actually achieving all the same things, but literally slow down while you're doing them. I like that was a real revelation when I realized that like even cooking dinner, I had this moment only a few weeks ago where I was cooking and I was, like chopping and kind of very quickly doing this and like not putting a lid back on something because I don't have time to put the lid back on properly. You know what I mean? And then suddenly I had this moment where I was like, what am I doing?
I know.
Like, why am I in such a panic? I can put the lid back on.
And we're so used to living in that way.
Yeah.
Like it's familiar and we continuously repeat the patterns that are familiar to us. So it takes a lot more energy to change. But when you have that awareness and when you're ready to make the change, that's when the magic happens. Yeah. And I think it's like what you said there. Yeah, we can. I can do a million things at once.
Yeah.
But how's that going to feel for me? How is that going to feel in my relationships? And Am I going to feel connected or disconnected? And am I going to feel at peace or really frazzled? And do I want to continue living my life in that way?
Yeah. How important is it for me?
Yeah.
What's the priority here? Is it peace or is it pleasing everybody? Yeah, pleasing everybody and tying yourself of your sense of self to that achievement, rather than I'm good enough as I am and I want to feel peaceful.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Becoming a mom really showed me that, actually, how we, I could see in my little girls how perfect and precious they were and are. And they don't need to do anything to be worthy. They just are. And they make mistakes and they're not perfect, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't change anything about them.
Yeah.
It's just their humanness shining through.
Yeah.
And that really helped me to view myself in that light.
Your inner child.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard you talk about that before, and it's such a funny word, inner child, or expression, because I think a lot of people, when they hear it, there's a bit of eye rolling or a bit of like, oh, yeah, whoa, but I think it's a really powerful work to be done. And I think especially when you become a mother, your inner child is revealed in a lot of ways when you're experiencing your own children.
Let me tell you, in my work with my clients, the inner child work is the most powerful.
Really?
It's really, it can be really confronting and hard and emotive, but it can really change things for people. Like, it can bring incredible awareness.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Explain to me what the work is and how it is beneficial for someone.
So it's about recognizing and connecting with the little girl or little boy that lives inside of us. And, I feel like I've done a lot of inner child work, but I'm going to be doing inner child work for the rest of my life.
Really?
It's layered, and my inner child shows up all the time. And, last year, the year of the snake, we were doing a lot of shedding. You'll be eye rolling at this too.
No, I love this. Oh, sorry, I'm not eye rolling at any of it.
And now when we're in the year of the horse, I feel like, I was pretty smug thinking, my inner child, I've done a lot of work with her. Oh my God, she really came to the fore the last couple of months. So it's about recognizing when she's activated, recognizing when she's feeling scared or angry or frustrated or bored. Mine shows up with fear a lot.
Okay.
And it's about listening to what she's showing me in that moment. What's she telling me? What's the message that's there? But also, how can I soothe her? Because if I can soothe her, I can soothe myself. And often when I'm doing this work with clients, they might be feeling really, really, really anxious about something, and we'll do the inner child work and they'll soothe their inner child. And then at the end of the exercise, I'll say to them, how are you feeling now? Your adult self. And they're always feeling really calm. So it's really powerful. But definitely since becoming a mother, my inner child, I can really see her. And I think our children are sent to teach us lessons, aren't they?
Oh, 100%.
Like, my 3 girls are all here to teach me different lessons. But as I said already, my 8-year-old is really like me. And I can get really frustrated at her for different things. But it's just like seeing me. It's like she's me. Just
you have to give yourself the patience and yourself the compassion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's not easy. But it's deeply healing.
How would someone listening kind of start to do that kind of work at home?
I have a couple of meditations. So if anyone is listening and would like a meditation, they can reach out to me. I'd be happy to share it with them. In my book that I released last year, The Steps.
Amazing book.
Thank you.
Yeah, really valuable stuff in there.
Thank you. There's a whole chapter on inner child healing. I think it's chapter 4, step 4, because it's such a big part of my life, my work. So that's a really good intro to it as well. Therapy, with somebody who works in inner child work. Even something as simple as creating a moment at home to connect with your inner child. So it could be as simple as colouring.
Yeah,
Giving yourself half an hour.
creativity.
Yeah, play.
Yeah.
Colouring. Taking yourself out for ice cream and like getting the sprinkles on top.
I can get down with that.
It's like,
yeah.
Or maybe writing a letter to your inner child.
Yeah.
Or
Lovely.
from your inner child.
Yeah.
Or both, from your inner child and then responding as your adult self.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so fascinating.
It is.
Yeah. And layers and layers and layers as well, as you say. I feel like you could, do one body of work and then end up getting to a whole new place to keep going on.
But it really soothes me. So when my inner child is activated and I connect with her and soothe her, like it really helps me to shift out of that anxiety. Yeah.
Another thing I heard you talk about recently when we're talking kind of motherhood and anxiety was exhaustion in motherhood. And you had such an interesting take on it, on why, like, I don't know a mother who doesn't say, I'm so tired. I'm exhausted. I say it all the time. And you talk about how it's not necessarily down to all the running around that you're doing, but for another reason, it's more cognitive.
I think it's multifaceted, isn't it?
Yeah,
like our
exhaustion.
It's the running around too. It's like there's so many demands on us.
Yeah.
There's the physical, there's the mental, there's the emotional, and then there's like the sensory as well. Like mom.
Yeah, the overload. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. But definitely a big part of it can be the cognitive.
Yeah.
And it's like all of the open loops.
Yeah, this was what I was reading about, which is fascinating, that we all have this mental load and we all know it, that to-do list that's in your head that you have to remember, you're going to need new shoes in about 2 months and you have to send that thank you card and you still haven't got that birthday present. And that because they're not closed loops, because you're not completing the task, it's cognitively exhausting you that they're open and running like a computer program in your brain.
Exactly. Or maybe it's like, I was at yin yoga last night, and earlier in the day I had gotten an email that kind of, hit a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there lying on the mat and it was coming to me, the email. And I was like, no,
go away.
Just be here. I have this mantra that I often use when I'm, somewhere and I just want to be present. Mm-hmm. Just be here. And I was like, just be here. Just be here. And the reason for that was I hadn't given myself time to process it. Like I hadn't given myself time to work through how I was feeling about it, why it had hit a nerve.
Yeah, okay.
What it means for me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an open loop as well. That kind of emotional response.
Yes, absolutely. But how do you close a loop necessarily like that? Like, I actually also got an email yesterday that really bothered me. And I was lying in bed last night being like, oh God, going through it and being like, just put it. And I visualize, I have like shelves and I put things in boxes on the shelf. And I'm like, I'm just going to put you there. I will come back to you, but you just stay in the shelf for now. And it wouldn't go in the box. I kept going back out of the box. It's funny because some things you just can't close that loop.
Yeah.
Very frustrating.
Yeah. It is, because I was lying there on my yoga mat. You were lying in bed. Yeah. And you know what it is? They were the moments in our day probably that we first had a moment to pause.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's creating those moments to pause, I think, that's the key, so that you can process that stuff, when you're not having this special pause moment. Like I've started to do daily meditation. I've done now nearly 50 days every single day.
Well done.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of that, I have to say, because it's not easy. Even if it's only 5 minutes, it's amazing how your brain does like everything in its power to stop you from taking 5 minutes. But I can feel it when you take that 5 minutes. It's amazing how regulating it is to sit still.
And so you've done 50 days, which is 7 weeks. When you reach the 8-week mark, your brain will literally look different.
Really? Physically?
Physically.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Like your brain will have changed because you're giving yourself this gift. And something that I love thinking about is in our prefrontal cortex at the front of our brain, there's this area that releases stress hormones. And when we meditate, the part of our brain that releases stress hormones shrinks.
No way.
so that less stress hormones are released. And then there's a part beside it that releases like happy hormones, and that gets bigger.
Wow.
So that's what you're doing for yourself.
I love that.
I know. You know, sometimes when you can understand it, it's like, okay, I'm going to stick with this.
Yeah, I will keep going.
It's motivating.
Yeah.
And the more, and it also links with our brain's reward system.
Yeah.
So the more we do it, the more it feels good. The more our brain's like, let's do that more.
Let's keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. It's like working out, like I'm building my happy muscle in my brain.
Exactly. And you're also strengthening your vagus nerve, which helps us when we're feeling stressed or anxious. It helps us to come back to calm much faster the stronger it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been doing lots of vagus nerve stuff as well. Like one thing, I sit on the landing outside my kids' bedrooms after bedtime and I put my feet up on the wall.
Oh, I love that.
It's a really calming feeling. Yeah. Or even just doing, I don't know if you ever have when you're in the car. I noticed when you're leaning back to talk to the kids in the car, you're like turning your spine.
Yeah.
And apparently that is activating your vagus nerve. Yeah. So I started to do that in the evening times. I like turn like I'm turning to look at the kids in the back of the car.
Yeah, you should start yin yoga. You'd love it.
I've done it once and I found it, and it was a year ago. I found it quite difficult. And a year ago, I can understand why I was finding it difficult, because just the staying still, my brain was on fire.
Yeah,
you know?
It can feel confronting.
Really confronting.
Stillness can feel confronting. Mm-hmm. So you may have a different experience now.
I think I would
try
now.
It again.
Yeah, I can go back to it.
To go back to your question about how we close the loops, some we can close immediately.
Yeah.
You know, so
do the thing. Yeah.
Some we can't. And I always go back to this really simple framework, the 4 Ds. So they are do, delay, delete, delegate.
Love.
So what you're going to do is you're going to take out your notebook and you're going to brain dump all of the things. And it could be like 7 pages long. So like you said earlier, the new shoes in 2 months, the birthday gift, whatever it is, the texts that you haven't replied to.
Yeah.
So you're going to look at your list and say, okay, what are the things I can just close the loops of really easily? And it might be, you know, on Monday, I'm going to order the shoes. On Tuesday, I'm going to spend 20 minutes replying to a text message. On Wednesday, I'm going to order the gift. So literally writing it in your diary. Do you keep a diary?
Like
I do.
Daily? Yeah, I do. I halfway between my iCal where I'm like, and I'll do that in my iCal. Like I'll put on Wednesday, order the shoes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the do's that will close those loops, you're going to schedule in. And even if you schedule it for like 2 months' time, you can forget about it then because you know it's going to be there waiting for you.
It's away, safe somewhere else. Yeah.
Then there's the delegates. So what can I delegate to my other half, to somebody else in my life? You know, my 8-year-old sometimes will bring out the bin.
Good for her.
And we'll give her pocket money for it. But, you know, that's what we've delegated to her.
Yeah.
Or unpacking the dishwasher.
Yeah. You need to delegate to the kids more.
Yeah. And that takes off my plate and off my husband's plate. So do, delegate, delay. So what are the things on your to-do list that you don't need to do right now?
Yeah, let go.
Yeah.
Let
go. So we recently got my 5-year-old a new bed and a new carpet in her room after moving in, and the walls are grey. So we had planned to paint them, you know, like a beautiful blush pink colour.
Beautiful, yeah.
But actually we're like, we do not need to do that right now.
Love
the paint is actually perfect. There's no reason. There's no reason. And she's not even asking us to. So that's something to just delay or delete.
Don't create the work.
Yeah. So what can you delay and what can you delete? And even doing that exercise in itself, in terms of trying to take the pressure off, but also then scheduling it in and deleting and delaying and delegating, that's going to help with that mental load. That's going to help with the loops.
Love
hugely.
That. The only one thing I'd say is I wish I didn't have to delegate as much. I wish that other people could recognize the things sometimes. I often say that in conversations that, like, you know, with partners when they're like, you just tell me what to do. And you're like, that's another thing that I have to do though.
But also we can't mind read. So sometimes, like, to flip it.
Very true.
Sometimes there's things that Paul, I know after we've had conversations, will be like, why didn't you just do that?
Yeah.
And I'll just think, I had no idea. Like, it just was not on my like
In
on my mind at
Yeah,
all.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because we're already so overloaded, but other times it's just because our brains work differently and I just would never think about the thing that he's thinking of.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Yeah.
It's very true. It's nice to flip it, actually. Helpful.
Yeah.
I'd love to talk a little bit about your dad, if that's okay. Because another kind of parallel, we both lost our dads after quite a short illness. And we were both really close to our dads. I get the impression you were very close to your dad as well. Yeah. Tell me about him. What was his name?
His name was Dennis. He was an amazing dad.
When did you lose him? How long ago?
I was 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was in the first year of my doctorate and I was living in Manchester and my mom rang me on a Sunday. I remember it so clearly. I was sitting on my bed. It was the evening time and she said, your dad's in hospital and it's not looking good. And I was like, what do you mean? Like I didn't know he was sick or anything.
Yeah.
So he had been at the kitchen table with her. They were having breakfast and she recognized something in his face, like his face moved differently or didn't move in it, as it normally would. And I think his speech was a little bit slurred. So whatever it was enough for her to think this isn't right. And she hadn't really noticed anything else before that.
It's amazing, such a small thing.
Yeah.
And amazingly similar to my story.
Really?
Yeah. My dad had a funny face and mom noticed it. Was it a stroke or was it brain?
No, so they thought it was a stroke.
But he had a brain.
But it was brain. It was he had lung cancer that had travelled to his brain.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So as soon as they got to the hospital, you know how you know by the medical team.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
Like
their faces.
It was, yeah. So and that was what she said. She said, I know by the way they're treating me, this is really bad.
And they're really kind.
That was it exactly.
Yeah.
They were kind of rubbing her shoulder.
No alarm bells when they're too nice. You're like, oh God.
Yeah. So I flew home the next day. And it's funny, isn't it? So I was in Manchester, which is so close, but yet it felt so far. And I felt so alone, that kind of however many hours it was. So he was in Wexford Hospital because we are from Wexford. And pretty quickly he was transferred up to the Beacon for specialist care. My mom's cousin is an oncologist, so she, was straight onto him asking for a recommendation for a consultant and all of that. And I remember we drove him up and he was like wearing his Sunday best and he was checking in. He had a private room and a private bathroom, thank God for health insurance. But he was really excited. He's like, God, this is so lovely. It's like a hotel. I wonder, will there be a fry in the morning? And my mum and I were like,
oh my God.
It was worst case scenario for us, but it was almost as if he didn't understand what was happening. So they took him off for a scan like immediately. And again, I have it in my mind so clearly. Myself and my mom were sitting together on his hospital bed, just in complete shock. And his consultant came in before he came back. And she said, if there's anything you need to say to him, if there's anything you want to say to him, you need to say it now. Because he could die at any moment.
Wow.
In the next 48 hours. He's so unstable. He could die
now. And he was coming across as fine.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she said the first 48 hours, we need to stabilize him. And then the kind of over the 2-week period, we need to really look after him. But it was worst case scenario. It wasn't like, we'll put a plan in place then. Really, it was just, we'll look after him as best we can. So it was, so he came back from the scan and I said to him, everything I needed to say, like how much I loved him. And I started to apologize to him for the times I hadn't gotten it right in our relationship.
Oh, Clodagh.
I know. And I'll never forget it. When the longer someone is gone, you kind of start to forget them in ways. But I'll never forget his eyes when I was having that conversation with him. Like they were breaking. Hearing me say these things to him, they were absolutely breaking his heart. And he just said, I know. I know how much you love me. I know you're sorry and there's nothing to be sorry for.
Mm.
And I always think it was I feel so lucky that I got to have that moment with him. And I always think of the people then that don't get that moment to say goodbye.
Absolutely.
But I have such an awareness, like what I always think is they knew. You know, the person that you lost, if you didn't get to tell them, they knew.
Yeah, they did know.
They knew, yeah. So, yeah.
And did he die soon after that then? It wasn't long.
He actually died 3 months later, but he was in the hospital the whole time.
And did his cognitive awareness change, or was he switched on until the end?
No, he was pretty switched on. Like, I mean, I don't think he fully comprehended the seriousness of it. But he, you know, we were able to chat and...
It's so special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
had
basically...
6 months with my dad. It was a very similar brain tumour.
Okay.
And we could chat. And those chats are the most special times of my whole life. I'll never forget them. So I really understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah. Hard, but like you say, you're so lucky to have those moments. So lucky. Yeah.
And you just get on with it, I guess, don't you? You just kind of do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Like, I remember writing essays for college in his room.
Yeah.
And like taking naps in his room and showering in his, you know, my whole life was just in that hospital room then for the 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. And it really made me aware of how, like, I was always super aware of the world continuing on as normal outside.
That's so hard.
And it's always made me really aware afterwards of like what people are going through that you just do not know behind closed doors or in different buildings, you know, that you never know.
And I remember not long after he died, and as I said, I was 24 at the time, so I was, you know, I was young. I was training to be a psychologist, so I was doing the sessions on placement, and I had this client who was maybe mid to late 30s, and her mom had cancer, and she said to me, you know, you can't understand. You don't get it. You're so young. What life experience do you have? So we just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It got to be so difficult for me not to be like, actually.
And sometimes now I'm a lot, you know, more secure in my skills and who I am as a psychologist. Sometimes now I will share. You know, I will use self-disclosure where I think it will benefit the client. But I think back then I just froze and I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah. I have a last question that I ask each guest that I would love to hear your answer to. Having your 3 girls watching the way you're navigating the world and the work that you're doing as well, what do you hope that they're learning from you?
Oh, I love this question. I hope that they are seeing that we can live our lives consciously. You know, we can allow ourselves to do the things we want, to rest when we need to. I hope they're seeing me spread kindness, and I hope they're seeing me live my life on my terms. You know, it's important for me to help people and support people and to shape my work around that. But I hope that when they're older, whatever path they decide to go down, that they can create that path based on something that feels very aligned to them and very important. So being true to themselves.
Yeah. What a gift.
Yeah. And putting themselves on their to-do list. You know, so often I will talk to women who they don't rest. They run around and they do all of the things. And I will say to them, how was your mom? Did your mom take time for herself? And they'll kind of say, no. So if I can give my daughters the gift of like listening to their needs and honoring their needs and resting and bringing joy into their life too, that's a big thing for me. And feeling just seen and valued and loved. That's really important to me too.
Dr. Clodagh Campbell, thank you so much for our conversation today.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's where we're going to have to leave it for today. Thank you so much to Dr. Clodagh Campbell, and thank you to you for listening too. If you enjoyed that chat, this is the part where I ask you to do all of the things. Please go and like or follow, subscribe to our channel, or even better, tell a mum you know about us. It helps us reach new audiences. If you would like to experience a Motherload event IRL, keep an eye on image.ie. We have lots of events coming up soon. And finally, thank you to the incredible brands that make the Motherload possible. Image the Motherload is powered by Peugeot and sponsored by Liffey Valley, Avoca, Revive Active, Optimal Advanced and Tigers Childcare. And we were recorded here in the beautiful Hoxton Hotel in Dublin.